All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in today. My name is Zanzi, and I'm the host of the Showcase AMA series here on the Polygon Discord. Today, we got a really special session happening with two really important guests. We got StaderLabs and QiDao. Um, yeah, I always like to kick things off doing like some introductions, um, diving into a bit about the backstory of the team. So why don't we hear a bit about Stater Labs first, and then we can hear the backstory of the QiDao guys next.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks again for having us, Nancy, and thanks everyone for tuning in. Pleasure to talk to the community always. Just to talk about Stader, right? I think Stader was started about 12 months back now, right? By Amit and Sid, who are the co-founders. And I think the idea started when I think Amit was actually starting to kind of explore DeFi more and was connecting with Sid, who has been in Bitcoin mining like for a very long time. And then he got into staking. And one of the things they found was that there are a lot of things about staking that are not as convenient and safe as they should be, right? Simple things like auto compounding are a pain to do. Having to choose your own validator and knowing how to do the research, etc. All of those appeared quite tricky, right? And they also saw the potential to kind of really build on top of staking rewards with staking derivatives. So essentially, Stader is like almost a short form for staking derivatives, actually, right? And that's how the team got started. And we had a great start on the Terra community to begin with, but we have since expanded to other strong chains like Polygon, Hedera, Phantom, and we recently launched on BNB and Near as well, right? So we've had a crazy journey with its own share of ups and downs, and we are glad that we have all like kind of about $75 million plus in TVL across chains now, right? With $10 million of that actually on Polygon in a span of 3 months. So we're super excited to be building here, John.
Awesome. Yeah, that's phenomenal. That's a really great mission statement to have, and it sounds like you guys are some pioneers within the space. So this is incredible. Um, Kyla, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hey, yo, it's Kila with QiDao. Little backstory about QiDao if you're unfamiliar. We actually started on Polygon about a year and a half ago. We kicked off on Polygon. We are a CDP stablecoin protocol, so it's kind of similar to MakerDAO, um, where we allow you to take your crypto, use it as collateral for basically minting stablecoins. Our stablecoin is Mai. So yeah, we let you take whatever token that you really want, um, that we accept, and you don't have to sell it. You can basically just deposit it into a vault, mint stablecoin, do whatever you want with that stablecoin. Uh, we're one of the most cross chain protocols out there, so you can take my you can mint my on Polygon, take it wherever you really want, try and find some yield. Um, but as you can imagine, like collaterals are a big thing for us, and anytime that we can add like interest bearing collaterals, we love to do so, because what that means is you're earning interest on the assets that are kind of sitting and being deposited in your vault. What's really special, I guess, um, about like QiDao is that for most of our vaults we charge 0% interest to mint. So yeah, it's basically free to mint stablecoins with us. Um, Not sure, did I forget anything?
No, I think that covers the basics. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, it's really great to have you guys here. And my understanding is that you guys are the most cross-chain decentralized stablecoin. You're on more than 20 chains now, correct?
Correct. Yeah. On over 20 different chains, you can mint my on over 10 different ones, but yeah, you can use my on 20. So it's very very cross chain. And also what's nice is that anytime you're going to those 20 different chains, you're getting like you're getting a fungible version of my that you can use kind of with any of our farms, unlike unlike a lot of different tokens where if you're bridging, you're bridging it and you get this like bridge version of that token that you'll have to go and swap out for a different version of that token. Maya is completely fungible across those 20 different chains.
Fantastic. And so I just want to jump back to MaticX and StaderLabs. So we talked a bit about like what inspired the creation of it. Having a safe liquid staking platform. But could you just like walk us through like how that all works? Like if I were someone who went and deposited Matic right now on StaderLabs, like how does that all work?
Yeah, absolutely, Zanzi. Happy to kind of give a favor, right? Like you covered, I think Stader focuses on staking infrastructure, and liquid staking is our most critical product in the product suite, right? And what typically tends to happen on proof of stake chains, actually, Zanzi, is that when users stake, right, their staked asset, for example, in this case, Matic, is actually in almost an escrow with the native staking contract, right, and can't be used anywhere else. So essentially what happens is people have to choose between participating in staking and therefore helping secure the network versus potentially participating in DeFi, and it always becomes a tricky choice for people to make. But given the composability of crypto and Web3 in general, right, one of the clear possibilities is something that we like to call liquid staking, right, where essentially people don't have to make a choice between staking and DeFi and can participate in both, right? For example, how we enable that is if users come and stake Matic with Stader, they'll get a representative token, right, which represents the staked assets called MaticX. And essentially, what MaticX does is it like kind of shows to everyone else in the DeFi ecosystem that the particular user has staked Matic with Stader, and therefore that's safe and available in the native staking contract, and people can therefore treat it as such, right? And MaticX will continue to accrue staking rewards, and over a period of time, acts like a yield-bearing token of Matic, right, where the yield is essentially supported by staking rewards, right? Now, people can then take MaticX and kind of use it all across Polygon DeFi, right? And we are here to talk about one fantastic such partnership with QiDao today. But essentially, they can use it on liquidity pools across Balancer, QuickSwap, Dystopia, MeshSwap, etc. Or they can do lending, borrowing, minting stable coins like My, right? Or even participating in auto compounders like Beefy, etc. So all of that becomes possible. And if it wasn't for liquid staking, for example, users could just get the 6% yield that they would today get for staking, but can't use it in DeFi. So that's in short what MaticX and Stader tries to do with liquid staking.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's amazing that it really like opens up the door for users to be able to profit off the proof of staking mechanism. So I just want to jump a bit more into the background about like QiDao, and there's this new DApp called Manhattan Finance, I believe. What's going on with all that?
Yeah, correct. So I gave you a little intro into kind of what QiDao is. Manhattan was kind of birthed through the community. The community was looking to kind of help, grow the usage of my kind of expand QiDao a little bit, and so they saw a couple different things that maybe was like slowing down that growth, and like one of those things was for QiDao we only accept Chainlink Oracle collaterals or tokens as collateral, so that the token has to have a price feed from Chainlink to be added. And so, as you can imagine, there's a lot of different things that Chainlink requires, and also there's a bunch of different chains that Chainlink is not necessarily on that we would love to go to and have people be able to mint my. And so after seeing some of those kind of limitations, people from the community decided, okay, how about we create a protocol called Manhattan Finance, and kind of allow for different types of collaterals and more exotic types of collaterals to be used to borrow my against. And also the thing is that with Manhattan Finance, they've implemented basically interest rate on that borrowing as well. So for QiDao, we have no interest, but because on Manhattan the assets are maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit more exotic. They decided that they wanted to put an interest rate on it, and so our partnership with Manhattan is that um, we will go to our community in QiDao, and we will, ask them like, hey, there's this collateral. Would you like to seed this market on Manhattan with some for people to be able to borrow? Um, and what we get in return as a community, as QiDao community, is part of that, the percent of that interest rate revenue. And so it's a way for us to, as QiDao, grow our revenue, expand to more chains, add new and more exotic collaterals at a more ready kind of pace. And so that's basically how Manhattan was born, and a little bit about the story of Manhattan. So it's a just community based protocol that was built to help my expand and grow.
Okay, cool. I did not know that. That was like the key
Yeah.
differentiating factor was the interest rate and the more exotic collaterals. That's good to know. And then so, since there's an interest rate, is there no longer the loan repayment fee, or is that still in place?
So what's actually unique about Manhattan is that it does have the interest fee, but Manhattan allows other protocols to basically uh, like integrate Manhattan into their front end as well. And so um, like protocols such as we saw it already with Stella, like Stella Swap integrated Manhattan vaults directly into their UI. When they integrated it directly into their UI, they had the option of adding, a deposit fee, a repayment fee to that vault. Right now, if you're just if you're just borrowing through Manhattan Finance, um, there is no repayment fee. It's just the interest rate.
Okay, awesome.
but 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 partners can add fees if they so wish by kind of changing a few things up
Yeah,
into the UI.
that's a really exciting feature to have. And just like real quick, like what is the, I don't know, what's the TLDR on my stablecoin? Like what differentiates it from other stablecoins? What is my, um,
Yeah, so Mai is an over collateralized stablecoin, so there's always more collateral backing it than there is my out there. So there's multiple different types of stablecoins. You've got your over collateralized, you've got your fiat backed ones, and then you've got algorithmic ones. So we're an over collateralized one, similar to DAI in a lot of respects there. Uh, some differences are those that Mai is backed by a very diverse group of assets. So we're not heavily backed by just one, or we're not heavily backed by any centralized asset. We're backed by a lot of different decentralized assets. So um, like we have 60 different collaterals that are backing Mai. And then also a big thing that is kind of differentiating us from other stablecoins is that you can mint Mai on, like I said, 10 different. If you're looking at other decentralized, CDPs, they don't have that many options to mint on those other chains. Also, um, you're minting at 0% interest um, for most of our collateral option types, which is pretty unique. So there's a bunch of different things that kind of set us apart. Those are, I think, kind of the top ones.
epic? Okay, I feel like everyone listening right now probably has a great um, understanding of QiDao by now, or at least like a good enough one to go and
Yeah.
do some more research. So I want to ask about the partnership going on between Stader and QiDao. Like, we get some more details about that.
Well, yeah. So I mean, like we partnered with Stader and Manhattan Finance to allow the Polygon community to be able to use their MaticX as collateral to borrow my. So they'd be borrowing my from MaticX on Manhattan Finance. There is an interest rate of 1%, but if you look at how much interest you're getting by just staking Matic with Stader, I mean that it far outweighs the interest rate that you're paying. So your collateral value continues to grow over time. While you're just paying 1% to borrow, and I think Vibin, I don't know if you have anything that you wanted to add.
No, I think I just wanted to reiterate what you just said, Kila, right? Which is actually, if you think about it, it's as if people get paid to borrow, right? Because essentially
Right.
the collateral actually grows at approximately 6%, and there's just a 1% interest rate to borrow. And so it's almost like essentially when you borrow, you get paid to borrow, unlike some of the other places where you might be borrowing stables, right? And if you just look at the opportunity, right, it's essentially any person who's today borrowing stables with Matic, if they just replace that with uh, MaticX and borrow my instead, right? I think it's a very interesting proposition where they are no longer paying interest and probably paying money to be able to use those tables. They can actually mint my and kind of farm with all the opportunities across chains that are possible with that, right? Which I find is like a very compelling proposition that we'll be able to bring to the community, right? And I think the other element uh, is also that uh, this is being enabled by Chainlink price feed as well, right? So essentially, we've worked with Chainlink to create a calculated price feed, which is what is going into Manhattan Finance and the QiDao as well. And maybe one last point, Kila, that you mentioned, but to kind of double reiterate, is that this is a fixed interest rate, right? This is not a variable interest rate that could be 1% today and 5% tomorrow. What you can be guaranteed when you borrow this is that it's going to be 1% throughout, which I think is very, very powerful.
Right. You won't have to worry about anything moving up and down. You know exactly what interest rate you're paying when you're borrowing against your asset. Which again, it's very powerful. You're being paid to borrow. For a lot of users, I mean, if you think about it, you're just by staking Matic, you're getting 6%. And now if you borrow my against that, you're still earning that 6%. Yes, you have a 1% interest rate, but then with that my that you borrow, you can go and do whatever you want with it. And you can, for example, if you wanted to farm with that, there's a bunch of different stable pools that you can farm with very little impermanent loss, that will earn you over 10% on that my. So you can kind of get extra yields with that my that you borrowed to offset any kind of interest, which again, it's a pretty small interest that is fixed. Or you can also just leverage. If you're really bullish on Matic, you can always lever your position and earn more.
Definitely, that's super exciting. I heard a rumor about an upcoming farm for my and MaticX. So, um, like since you can borrow my against your MaticX, I don't know. I'm wondering if you could share more details about this upcoming incentivized farm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
go on.
go ahead. Vibin.
Yeah, sure, Kila. Yeah, so I think, Zonzi, we are going to have a My MaticX farm that will go live very soon, right? In a matter of a few hours, if not like a day or so, right? Essentially, we'll have a Uni V3 farm where people can actually farm MaticX My LP pairs, right? And we are kind of providing close to $20,000 of SG rewards uh, for the next couple of months at least that we've already kind of set aside, right? So interesting yield opportunity for users, right? And for the My community to come and kind of test out MaticX and also participate in the LP.
Fantastic. This sounds like it might be the big yield farming strategy moving forward for the next few months. So yeah, thank you so much for all of that alpha. Um, question for Kila. So my currently has 40 million plus TVL on Polygon right now. Um, I'm just wondering, like, what is the strategy to continue growth from here? Like, you guys have already had such an incredible run the past year. Like, you've scaled up tremendously quickly. Like, sorry, that's such a weird way to phrase things, but I'm just curious. Like, what's the strategy moving forward?
I mean, the strategy from the beginning was really a lot of partnerships, and I think that's how we've been able to grow as quickly as we have. Um, and so continue to grow with different more and more partnerships such as this one, adding cool and unique assets that are interest bearing. I think in markets like this are very important to continue that growth. In terms of growth overall, yeah, continuing to expand to different chains and also deepening our liquidity. And I think this is also one of those elements that the farm really helps with is as we deepen our liquidity on Polygon and other chains, we're able to open up our debt ceilings, more rapidly. And debt ceilings are oftentimes the one limiter towards our growth, but we have to make sure that our peg maintains very solid, over like that's number one, not TVL. TVL is, it's a great metric, but it's not important if your stablecoin is oversold. So yeah, that's just a few things on how we plan to continue to grow on Polygon as well as across the ecosystem of DeFi. That is.
Epic. Yeah, super excited about everything. It's been incredible to watch how you guys have rose up so quickly. So Vibin, what are some other ways that MaticX can be utilized?
Yeah, perfect. I think firstly, one of the simple things that users can do, Zonzi, is actually provide liquidity to our MaticX LP pairs, right? Essentially, both MaticX and Matic are highly correlated in price because MaticX is essentially a representation of stake Matic. Therefore, they are very highly correlated in price and have near zero impermanent loss, right? So users will be able to farm MaticX LP, and currently the yields are anywhere between 20 to 30% on a consistent basis, right, across multiple dexes, right? So whether it be Balancer, QuickSwap, MeshSwap, Dystopia, etc. So users can actually make close to 20 to 30% on their Matic, right, and accumulate a lot of Matic as they kind of play out this market, right? Especially for anyone who's long. And this is near zero impermanent loss. That's almost like step number one that users can do with MaticX. Number two, they could actually take this to the likes of Beefy, Artofarm, etc. And currently, for example, on Beefy, we are also running uh, boosted farms, right, on Beefy. So when people go to Beefy to auto compound our LP tokens, they get uh, a boost on top, right, which can take it very close to 30%, 25% yield on Matic, right, which is a very interesting opportunity for users. Now, on top of that, obviously, we just spoke about users in a few hours, the wallets will launch and they'll be able to mint or borrow my at a very low interest rate with MaticX. And in fact, one of the things that we'll be working on very soon is also how to integrate that into the Stader UX as well, right, to make it very easy and accessible to the Stader community. So that's something that's in the works as well. If people are looking for something slightly more complex, they can actually leverage yield farm on MeshSwap, right, where they can actually earn up to 100% right now. And again, because there's near zero impermanent loss, it's a great opportunity for people to kind of lever up the LPs itself, right, and actually farm the MaticX pair and earn up to 100% yield on that one. And users can also trade options today with MaticX, right? So people can actually do MaticX options trading on Delta Theta, for example, and they could sell call options in out of range that they expect not to sell and earn maybe even higher yield on top of what they get from staking rewards already, right? So a bunch of interesting possibilities for users with MaticX, and we are glad to be bringing the ability to actually borrow MAI on top of that, right? So
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
same.
So you mentioned beefy, balancer, mesh swap, leverage farming. What was the one for the options vault? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it's Delta Theta Zonsi, right? So they are an options trading platform, right? They are large on Polygon and BNB. They're cross-chain, and they enable MaticX options, right? So people could sell MaticX options there for a premium paid out in DAI, for example, right? So some interesting possibilities for all options traders out there, right? To be earning yield while they have the asset and trade options.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's absolutely incredible what you guys are doing right now. Like, not only are you building in the bear market, you're doing it to the degree that DeFi users are still able to earn money in the bear market. So yeah, it's really exciting. Lots of possibilities opening up. I'm wondering, Vibin, if you're interested in maybe doing a screen share and showing us a bit more of what you were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Very happy to. So I'll cover a couple of things, Zonsi, and obviously on our socials we'll put out more when the vault itself goes live on how to use the MaticX My Vault itself. And today what I'll do is I'll cover a couple of things. One, how can they mint stake Matic with Stader? How can do that process? And also I'll probably show some of the farms that are available for users to farm with My as well, right? So those are the couple of things that I'll just quickly run through if that works. So just give me a moment and I'll just get started.
All right, sounds good. And I just want to let the audience know if you have any questions for Vibin or Kila, feel free to just drop them in the text channel and I'll make sure they get asked.
Uh, is everyone able to see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I'll just get started, right? I think I'll just get started with Stader. Users can just go to StaderLabs.com, and when they click on start staking, it'll show us all the chains that we are live on. So they can just click stake now and go to our Polygon dApp, right? Which they can also get to directly by typing polygon.staderlabs.com. So it's a very simple interface. Obviously, given Matic staking is actually on Ethereum, users can stake either on Polygon or on ETH, right? In both cases, they are staking Matic, but they can stake on either Polygon or ETH. I'll walk through the staking on Polygon use case itself, right? So when you land here, you're able to see the number of Matic that's already staked with Stader on Poly, like overall, which is like close to 13 million Matic that's been staked already. And the current yield that users can earn by kind of staking Matic with Stader, right? It now shows also the what MaticX is worth, right? So currently MaticX is worth approximately 1.03 Matic, right? And the reason it's gone up by 3% is because it's been a growing yield from the time it's been launched 3 months ago, right? So over a period of time, MaticX will continue to grow in value with respect to Matic, right? Similar to any other interest-bearing token that users might be familiar with, right? Now, staking is very, very simple. So users can just enter. It'll also show how much Matic I have. For example, in this account, I have 3 Matic, so I can just, let's say, stake and just click on stake. Just approve it. And it's done, right? So I've already staked my Matic. My Matic balance has gone down, and my MaticX balance has actually gone up already, right? I can verify this on my MetaMask as well. So users have kind of gotten their hands on MaticX. Now they don't have to do anything beyond this, right? There's stake MaticX is now like any other ERC20 token that they can use in DeFi. And in the background, like I just explained, MaticX will just continue to earn yield, right? So here we highlight some of the key opportunities that are there, right? From balancer to farming on mesh swap to quick swap, etc. Right? Users can kind of also go into the explore DeFi section here or by clicking directly here and see all the opportunities that they have to farm with MaticX, right? So there are all these liquidity pools that are available, right? Users can also check out which protocol it is from, right? And what is already the TVL that exists, right? We are yet to add my because it's just going live with that vault. But for example, today users can lend on market XYZ, or users can actually do single-sided lending on MeshSwap, which is a very interesting opportunity today. This is what gets used in the leverage yield farms on MeshSwap, right? So today they can earn close to 18% yield by just doing single-sided lending of MaticX, right, on MeshSwap, which is on top of the 6% yield MaticX itself generates. And obviously, they can also go to all these yield optimizers and the options trading with delta theta. People can easily kind of reach those opportunities right here on the Stader app, right? So I think most people would be familiar with My Finance as well, right? Basically, you can just go to my.finance and go to and you could create walls, or you could look at all the farming opportunities that are available, right? Like I think Kila was mentioning, there are so many opportunities that are possible with my, right? There are all these pools that are available where users can actually farm. And if you are much more cross chain, you can even go across chain and find the best possible yield, right? I think it's just loading, but there are some special yield opportunities that are available anywhere between 7 to 10% that users can farm as well, right? Kila, if you want to add anything or you want me to show anything specific, happy to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, one, I just wanted to say that your UI on the Stader website is beautiful, very intuitive, love it. In terms of the farms here, yeah, I'm not sure why the farms or some of the farms are not loading up, but yeah, we do show a lot of different farms on the farming page, as well as like the
Yeah,
as well as the tokens that are going to be earned.
yeah.
The
I think
the
here
new
they're showing up
farms.
actually.
Yep,
Kila,
yep,
sorry.
correct.
Yeah, I think, for example, this one is loaded. And yeah, I think there are so many opportunities in like that range from, yeah, 5% yield to 12% yield to actually much higher numbers, right? And some of these, like you said, are also near zero impermanent loss, right? So some great opportunities. Sorry, go on, Kila. I just,
Yeah, no, correct. I think you said it better than I could have. There's a lot of different opportunities here. A lot of them are earning chi. Most of them are earning chi here, and so yeah, a lot have zero to very low impermanent loss because they're stable. And so if you're borrowing money against your MaticX, um, this might be a great place to kind of come and look at different options on what to do with that money.
yeah, absolutely. Imagine just borrowing at 1% and being able to farm stables at 9.4 and also earning yield on collateral, right? Just sounds fantastic, Kila.
Exactly. I mean, if you want to as well, I mean, little alpha, you can show them if you want the
Yeah.
a little preview of the vault, the MaticX vault on Manhattan Finance.
Yeah, I think we can show like a preview of that actually. It's still not fully up, but I think we can show a version of that, right? For users.
Correct. We're still just doing a few tests, but it should be up off of staging
Yep.
pretty soon. There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, I think like Kila just mentioned, right? I think it's a very simple thing. Users can just click create vault, and then they'll be able to see MaticX, for example, and they can see that they can borrow at 1% yield. And once they click on this, yeah, I think you can just approve on your MetaMask, and you will be, yeah, yeah, the wall should be up and running. And then after that, it's just very, very simple and intuitive for users to actually, uh, for example, deposit, borrow, etc. Right? So I think I can just go here, yeah, and just let's say just deposit my MaticX, and that's pretty much it. It will show up here as collateral, right? And
Correct.
once that happens, I can just go ahead and borrow in the borrow tab here, right? I'll probably just wait a minute for this to show up, but yeah.
Correct. Well, QiDao as QiDao will have to fund the vaults as well with some money. And so right at this moment in time, just we're testing everything else, and then once we have that, we'll add a little bit of test my. We'll test that, and then once all those checks are done, make sure that the interest rate is proper. Make sure that everything works the way it should. We will fund it. We will fund it with a bunch more money and open it up for the entire community to kind of ape in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, the collateral has showed up. You can just go here on borrow and just borrow my at this insane 1% fixed borrow rate, right? So that's it's going to be very simple and intuitive. And you can, after that, after you've minted my, head over to the farms page on QiDao and actually start farming. Yeah. Perfect. I'll just stop streaming now, Zanzi.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for showing everything. And one thing I do want to highlight for people interested in partaking in this strategy is that debt ceilings, often when these vaults go live, it doesn't take too long for the maximum amount of borrow to get hit. So make sure you're keeping an eye out for when it goes live if you're trying to partake. Otherwise, the debt ceiling might get hit before you get in there, and then you'll have to wait until it gets raised again, which actually happens pretty quick, doesn't it, Kila?
Yeah. I mean, we keep an eye on debt ceilings. We keep an eye on the peg, and we'll manage the debt ceiling based off of our peg as well as the liquidity of an asset on chain. And MaticX has a good amount of liquidity on Polygon, so we shouldn't really have any issues with that. And with the my MaticX farm as well taking off pretty soon. We should be able to see some pretty rapid debt ceiling increases.
Fantastic. I just want to remind the audience, while we're lucky enough to have both Vibin and Kila here, make sure to ask any questions you have, because now is a great time to do so while you have their attention. Yeah, but this has been incredible. I feel like we've covered tons of alpha, tons of incredible yield farming strategies. So I'm wondering, is there anything else you guys want to talk about that we haven't talked about already?
Not really, Zanzi. We're just super excited, and I think the vault will go live very, very soon. So users can kind of stay tuned on our socials, right? Both QiDao and Shader Polygon, and they'll hear from us soon on when the vault goes live. And I think it's a great opportunity, and we see this as the next big unlock for MaticX in terms of DeFi possibilities, right? So quite excited to see what the community does with my.
Correct. No, and we're also in regards to that. I mean, if you guys as a community create different strategies or think about different strategies of what you can do with MaticX and Mai and all that kind of stuff, create what we call French charts. French charts, just little diagrams of how to use the tokens and all that kind of stuff. You share it on share it on Twitter or share it on our Discord. We'll make sure to circulate that. We love to see the different kind of strategies that you guys come up with. I mean, we're really excited about this partnership. I think that I hope that more and more of kind of Polygon ecosystem kind of leans more towards using liquid state versions of Matic than Matic within the DeFi ecosystem, because I think it's just going to be more capital efficient. And then also when it comes to LPs, you're kind of cutting into some maybe impermanent loss by using an interest-bearing version of Matic versus just Matic. So I'm excited that we're here. I'm excited about the partnership. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us. We are, in terms of QiDao, we've got a Discord as well that's very active with our community. So if you have any questions that you're not able to come up with and ask right now, feel free to hop into our Discord and ask them. Our favorite Discord god Nacho is here as well. Say hi, Doctor.
Hey, I'm sharing the link now. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I definitely fully agree that this is a humongous unlock for MaticX. And, since you're touching on impermanent loss, I really want to highlight that um, the risk of that is really mitigated when you're using like when you're providing an LP with both Matic and MaticX, or Wrap Matic and MaticX, because, it's Matic to Matic. It's not like Matic with a different token. There's not as much there's virtually no volatility because it's Matic paired with Matic. So yeah, the risk of impermanent loss is super mitigated, and then there's crazy APYs going on for farming Matic. So, and it's like a double farming opportunity. You're getting the yield from the proof of stake mechanism, and then plus the yield farm, and then the trading fees. It's phenomenal what's going on.
Exactly. No, I hope that other protocols that, like, when they are thinking about different LPs for their governance token and all that kind of stuff, a lot of times they will choose an LP with Matic, but consider thinking about a liquid version like MaticX to pair your governance token with, because one, that will give your users more yield, and then also it will cut in, like, there will be some impermanent loss, but the yield will kind of help subsidize a little bit of that impermanent loss. And I'm sure Vibin can go
Yeah,
into
100% agree.
deeper
Yeah,
detail.
that's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, the idea is kind of right overall for, like, as you said, liquid staking is extremely capital efficient. And not only is it great for users, but it's also great for Polygon as a community and a chain, right? Because the more Matic that gets staked, the more secure the network becomes, right? And we also ensure that the validators we choose are carefully chosen and always drive decentralization with smaller validators getting the stake. So essentially, the more Matic that gets staked, right? Today, I think it's about maybe 35% of circulating Matic that gets staked. With liquid staking becoming popular, possibly this could just really jump up to 70-80%, in which case I think the Polygon chain is then twice as secure. We are super excited about all both what it brings for the users and what it means for the community overall. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited as well. Um, so I've dropped a bunch of links in the chat. We've got the My Finance, Manhattan, and then I got the QiDao Twitter and Discord, and then I've got the StaderLabs website, Twitter, and Discord as well. So I'm assuming those are probably the best places to follow up with everybody. And we've got a question coming in from Foxy. He's wondering if you could go over how during borrowing and lending collateral yield is being tackled. I guess he's just like looking for a little more clarification on how the MaticX token is accumulating yield, and like when you're borrowing against it in the vault, and yeah, just
Oh, sure. Yeah. I think I think it's a very important question, especially to understand where the yield comes from, right? And the good thing about a token like MaticX, right, is that it comes directly from staking rewards, right? The 6% yield that we are offering is fully coming from actually staking the Matic, right? And the reason it's valuable for the network to incentivize that is because it helps secure the network, and it gives a reason for validators to actually go ahead and validate all these transactions, right? So it forms that core functionality, which is why staking rewards exist and provide the yield. And all the yield that they get out of MaticX is purely from staking rewards, as Zansi, right? So that's how it earns yield. And that's why it's also sustainable, right? As the staking rewards move, uh, that's how the yield on MaticX also kind of moves, right? Which is why it can also support very large TVLs without the yield actually dropping. Because if you look at the amount of Matic that's staked, that's upwards of like probably 2 billion Matic that's already staked, right? So that's the kind of uh, Matic size that kind of staking rewards can sustain. which is what MaticX also taps into.
All right, and this next question coming in from ZZ is directed towards you, Kyla. How long has Mai been around for? When did Mai first met?
Yeah, so we actually launched May of last year. So we've been live for over a year. Um, yeah, and we launched on Polygon last last May. So May of last year, not this most
May the
recent May.
4th, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes, May the 4th.
ZZ says 75 million TVL in 1 year. Dang, congrats. Um,
Thanks. Yeah, it was quite a bit higher before the UST debacle. So we were we were up there around 400, but yeah, I mean, as everyone as every protocol saw, once the UST debacle happened, like TVLs dropped quite heavily, which I mean, for us, it's okay. We're not too worried about that. It did provide a lot of repayment fees, for us, so the protocol did pretty well. But yeah, 75 mil right now, not too bad, not too shabby.
yeah, it's definitely a huge milestone, and I believe StaderLabs has around 80 million in TVL right now, with 10 million of that being on Polygon, which is also a humongous feat. And how long has StaderLabs been around for?
Yeah, so I think we've been around for about a year actually, Zansi. So it's very similar kind of timeline. So yeah, Stader has been around for about 12 months plus now. I think our first product we launched in November of last year. So that's when obviously we started building much earlier. But yeah, I think the first product that we launched was in November of last year, and we've had some good traction. In fact, I think we had some exposure to Terra as well, because that's when we first started, right? And I think before the Terra crash, we had like a very large TVL as well, 700, $800 million at that point in time, right? But I think we're glad that we expanded to Polygon right after Terra, for example, and a few other chains as well. And that's kind of standing us in good stead now, thankfully.
Yeah, that's terrible what happened with Terra, but it's good to see that you guys are both still going strong.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I think if you studied stablecoin kind of mechanics for a while, you would have. I mean, it was something to be expected. They like the algorithmic stablecoins. It's hard to find one that's kind of cracked the code, um, and when they're that big, when they get that big, it's hard to save them. So they were able to like be saved a couple times through like their VCs and their partners. But there's only so much money to kind of go around and be able to save someone. So when you got that big and the mechanics aren't really that solid, yeah, these things kind of happen.
Yeah, it was kind of inevitable, and I saw a ton of people, going off about it on Twitter for months leading up to it, and I believe his name's Do Kwon, Stable Kwon, and he was just like super arrogant about it and wouldn't really acknowledge people's concerns. So yeah, it's terrible what happened though. Well, one question I do have is what made you decide to deploy on Polygon? Maybe both of you guys want to answer that question. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I'll kick it off. So we one was there's a lot of traction kind of heading towards Polygon last year, um, last year around like the April timeframe. But even before we launched, we were already talking to the Polygon team, and they were very helpful, very receptive like to us. They helped guide us through the entire process of deploying on there, as well as helping connect a lot of the dots. And so because of that, it was a really kind of smooth and successful launch. But yeah, it was one Polygon's traction at the time, and then also the team just being so supportive and helpful.
Yeah, I think kind of similar for us as well, right? I think the Polygon leadership has been very supportive from the get-go, actually, for Stader as well, right? And they've continued to invest in startups and kind of ensure that they are supported. So I think that's the case with Stader as well. I think lot of support from the Polygon team and the foundation itself. And obviously, I think for staking to be like an important kind of part of the puzzle in any ecosystem, I think two things need to come together, right? Which is basically there should be a high amount of staking that's happening, which is definitely true for Matic. And the DeFi ecosystem should be thriving with a lot of protocols, right? Which is again true because you can only unlock staking opportunity along with DeFi when DeFi is also thriving, which is what kind of both of these are fantastic, along with obviously the community that Polygon has, right? So this combination is kind of what made us choose this Polygon as probably the very next chain we wanted to deploy on and expand to.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear, and I really got to highlight that um, both of your projects, StaderLabs and QiDao, are like top tier projects within the ecosystem. You guys provide so much value to the Polygon network. So yeah, really great to have you both. I don't see any other questions coming in. Sorry, Kyla, did you have something you wanted to add in?
No, I was saying I just appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. We are starting to run a little short on time, so I do want to encourage people, if they have any questions, get them in quick. Otherwise, yeah, I don't really have much else that I want to ask. It's been a really good, thorough AMA. We got a lot of alpha about upcoming yield farming strategies and current ones as well. Really high level overview.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the opportunity, Zansi, and thanks everyone for tuning. I think we'll kind of wait around for like a minute or so if people have more questions. But thanks a lot for this opportunity, and always great to connect with Kila and the team, and we are super excited about what's coming. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah,
thanks, y'all. Yeah, just keep an eye on Twitter and our Discord, our Telegrams, and you'll see exactly when everything launches.
fantastic. Yeah, definitely stay tuned. Maybe turn those notifications on for Twitter notifications so that you're ready right when the MaticX vault goes live and you don't miss it. Yeah, other than that, yeah, really appreciate everyone coming out today and tuning in for this amazing alpha session. And all the links are in the chat. If you want to follow up with QiDao and Stader, I highly encourage you to do so. Go follow them on Twitter. They're some of the top projects in our ecosystem. They're absolutely amazing, incredible teams. So other than that, thank you so much for coming out, Kila and Vibin. It's been amazing having you both here. Such an honor to be able to do this. So
Pleasure as always. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I wish everyone an amazing weekend. And yeah, thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, folks.